What if a complete stranger could make your great day absolutely perfect? Would you let them do it? Would you insist on doing it yourself? Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, your host. I'm so excited to jump in and talk brave with you today. Today, we are talking about courage, having the courage to be part of a community, letting people in again. And this is one of those things that I want to be better at than I am. But we're going to jump in. We're going to explore it together. Know that I am not speaking from expert here, but from just little lessons learned as I slowly get better at this. So we'll start off by saying that sometimes we get hurt. We get hurt by other people. We get hurt in situations. We get our feelings hurt. And it doesn't really matter why. We're not going to explore the why or anything like that today, whether it's intentional or not. We get hurt. And so we withdraw from people. And we do this as a way to protect ourselves. It's very understandable. It's very predictable, I guess you could say. It makes sense. But it is just what we do. We withdraw from people. It's very understandable, but it's also very isolating. So we do that. We withdraw from people. And I hate to admit that, this has been something that I have done a lot. In the last about 7 years, I have withdrawn from people so much, and it has been such a fight to get back into it. But when we withdraw from people, we don't have the connection that we would. That connection gets weakened, that connection gets severed, and simply put, less connection means less joy. This is still April. We are still talking about joy and connection, and we talked the last couple weeks about how we find joy in the connection, right? In connecting with things, with people, and with ideas, with things that we love. The greatest connections I think that we make that bring us the most joy are the connections we make with people around us. Because we all need people, right? We need that human connection. We need people. No matter how much we don't want to or how much we don't like that particular idea, we need people. Now, here's the tricky part. We get hurt, we withdraw. And it takes us a while sometimes to build back up the courage and the confidence to re-enter the world of people and re-enter situations where we can get hurt. But there are lots of good people in the world. And I know that this is hard to think about and it's hard to see sometimes because, well, the good things don't always sell, right? We all know that sex and violence sell, and so that's what gets sold. But there are lots of good people who are willing to love and support us if we are allowing them to do so. And they will do so much for us, and we can find so much love and support and connection from people around us if we will allow them. If we are brave enough to trust others. If we're brave enough to let them in again. And I'm going to be honest, this is something I've really been struggling with. Been working with this for quite some time. Realized after my dad passed away, it was just hard. Everything was harder, right? And people were harder. And then the pandemic happened, and then we were all separated, and it just became really, really hard. And I hate to admit that I took the easy way out in a lot of instances and just kind of withdrew from people. Not just people, but in general, but also just people that I knew, communities that I had, groups I was in, I just kind of withdrew. But if we will allow other people to support us and to love us and to do things for us, we can really, we can find some seriously amazing joy and some connection. If we will allow them to be part of our community, even if it's just for a few minutes. Well, this last weekend, my husband and I were sealed in the Cedar City Temple. And then what that means, remember, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there is what is referred to as a temple wedding or a sealing. And it is what we believe as a marriage that is still in effect after you die. So my husband and I got married outside of the temple a couple of years ago, and then we have been working towards this particular weekend since then. And it happened this weekend, and it was amazing, and it was wonderful. It was not how I pictured or thought it was going to be, but it was awesome. But anyway, afterwards, we came out of the temple because we don't take pictures or anything like that inside the temple. So we came out of the temple and we were taking pictures outside the temple. A bunch of family came in from all over and we were taking pictures. And we were taking pictures we were in the middle of the sidewalk, honestly. And these people were walking behind us and they were kind of trying to not get in the pictures. And somebody's like, "Oh, you can go ahead and go." And they're like, "Unless you want to be in the something was said about unless you want to be in the pictures." And this little little lady, she's like, "Well, I want to be in the pictures." And my husband and I were like, "Okay, go ahead." And so we both turned around and we put our arm, took her basically in this hug. And whoever had the cameras just started snapping pictures. And it was so funny because we didn't know who she was and never seen her before. And she just said, "Well, if anybody asks who that is, you just tell them it was someone that was wishing you well today. Wanted the best for you today." And my husband said, "Well, we'll just tell them that you were our grandma for the day." Because neither one of us has a grandma left. Our grandmothers have all passed away. But it was the sweetest experience. Just this random stranger who kind of made the whole day. Not that the day wasn't wonderful without it, but it just kind of added that cherry on top to this day and made it absolutely wonderful. And she was what was missing. We didn't have a grandma. And it wasn't big and it wasn't complicated. She just stopped. She took us both in her arms. She gave us a hug. Said that she wanted the best things in the world for us and was our grandma for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And a quick picture. And she made the whole thing so much better. Now, there's a lot of ways we could have reacted. And maybe seems weird to have that happen. But it was just this beautiful moment of feeling loved and feeling seen and joy that comes from connection to other people. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I have intentionally withdrawn from people, it has been hard, right? And one of the things that's made a lot of this whole people-y thing hard for me the last couple of years is I'm not an instant connection type of a person. I'm just not. It takes me a while to connect with people, to feel like I can trust people, to feel like I want to be part of somebody's life or I want them to be part of my life. And I also don't allow a lot of hurts anymore. And what I mean by that is it's something that I'm working on. I'm working on trusting people again and not being so skittish, I guess you could say, and cautious about absolutely everything. But I withdraw pretty quickly. I've kind of gone from one extreme to the other. I used to be when I was young and I was growing up, I would just stick with people and stick with people, and it didn't matter how many times they hurt my feelings or how many times they were mean or how many times that I got caught in the in between or whatever. It didn't matter how many times I got hurt. I always gave them the benefit of the doubt. I always went again. I always tried again, and I never. I just, I guess, played the martyr really, really well, and just was always the one to get hurt. And then I kind of went a little bit extreme in the other direction, which we often do, right, as people. And I got to a point after, you know, some time in my life and all of these things happening, I've decided, I kind of, like I said, I went kind of the other extreme. And somebody hurt me, somebody, whatever, I would just kind of withdraw quickly. I didn't really give them a chance to hurt me more than once. And, well, I do think that there is some serious, we shouldn't let people hurt us. And we shouldn't let people be awful to us. We teach people how to treat us, right? But I realized in a lot of things and the way that I am and in learning lots about myself, that a lot of things were not personal and I was taking them personally. People were just, sometimes people just fall through the cracks. Sometimes people get hurt. And so that has been something that I've been working on. And along with this working on things is because I spent a lot of my life doing everything that I could to not be disappointed, to not be let down. And like I said, I took it to the extreme. And so it's been working on, especially the last 6 months to about a year, working on letting people back in again into my life, into what I'm doing. And that has been hard. And one of those things has been letting people help me in any way, shape, or form. Because I don't like, I'm one of those people that I don't like to be helped, right? I like to be able to do things on my own. I want to be one of those people, stand up on my own and do things my own way and my own self and all independent and all that crap. But I've realized that as I let people help me, when we allow people to serve us, we allow people into our lives a little bit, we allow that connection to be there, to grow, and things to get better. And also, like, when we let people help us, things can just turn out so much better. For example, this weekend after we went to the temple and we were sealed, we came back to our house and we had a little luncheon. And we had decided a couple weeks ago that we were going to do that, have a little, time for people to visit and all of that type of stuff. And my husband was like, well, we'll just have Mom do it. And so he called my mother-in-law, I don't know, week and a half ago, 2 weeks. And he said, will you do the luncheon? He says, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do, just do it. And we let her do it. I let her do it. We let her do just 100%, gave her the reins and didn't even know what we were going to have. Anything like that. Now, I'm going to be honest, wanted more control. I'm a bit of a control freak. I'm not going to lie. But I just was not in a place to do it. For 2 weeks before this happened, I've been fighting a migraine. I've not been feeling super well. It's been a real struggle in a lot of ways. So I just wasn't in a place to do it. So I let my mother-in-law do it. Well, we were at the temple a little bit longer taking pictures. When I got back to our house afterwards, I walked in, came in, there was all this food everywhere that it was almost ready. Walked in, all this food, everything like that. And I was able to, because I didn't have to worry about the food, I was able to sit and talk to people that I hadn't seen in a long time, that had traveled pretty far to come see me. And it was just nice to not have to worry about that. That one of my old roommates from college, her and her husband left not one or two, but five little boys with a family member and drove 4 hours to come spend a couple of hours with me. And I got to just sit and talk to her and catch up with her. And then, she had to leave. They had to leave a little bit early because they had to go get the kids. And then I was able to spend some time talking with my sister that I haven't seen in a long time, talk to a couple of our neighbors. And so it was just really nice. And I was showing my sister around the house, and I came back in. It was a lot of people had, it was kind of winding down, and a lot of people had left. I came back in and the kitchen was completely cleaned up. My mother-in-law and her sister had cleaned everything up. And it was just nice to not have to worry about that. The day got to be about my husband and I, and this big important step that we had taken in our lives. And it allowed letting people help me allowed me time to spend with people that I hadn't seen in a while, and to make those connections. And kind of reminding me that, like, it's the connections with people that make life really worth it. It's the connections that bring joy, and that really make things beautiful. Joy comes from connection. Joy comes from feeling loved and seen and belong, like you belong, and letting people into your life. Will help you to find those connections. I'm not saying let anybody and everybody into your life. Do be a little bit selective, but know that that's where the joy comes. It's people and those beautiful experiences that we share. The other thing that I've learned these last year or so that has been very hard won lessons that have come much more difficultly with much more difficulty than I would like. Learn to drop the way to find happiness and connection with these is to drop the expectations and just let people be who they are. To love them for who they are, and to not hold them to some crazy unspoken standard that I've cooked up in my mind that, of course, I never meet, because one, they don't know what it is, and two, it's just kind of ridiculous. And it's one of those things that my husband and I were just having a conversation the other day about something, and I was like, I feel bad because I feel like you're not getting, I felt like I wasn't getting what I wanted or what I needed, but I wasn't being bold enough and brave enough to tell him what I wanted or needed. So, of course, he couldn't give it to me. And then I was mad because he wasn't giving it to me. So people are going to show up how they can show up. And if we can be grateful for that, instead of upset that they didn't show up exactly how we wanted them to, we can still have an amazing time. We can have amazing experiences, and those connections can grow and be really amazing and bring us that pure joy that comes from being connected to other human beings. Like I said, this weekend, not exactly how I envisioned. Certain family members, because of health issues, were not able to come. They wanted to come really, really bad, but they just were not able to make the trip. And other people had a friend who wanted to come so bad, but her husband is sick with COVID, and so she couldn't come. But then I had other people show up that I was not expecting, or one of my old friends, I didn't even think, and I gave her a very, very last minute invite, to which she showed up. She was only able to show up just for a small amount of time. She came, she was there, left her 5 kids with her husband for a couple of hours so that she could be there. And people have showed up for me in ways that have were really quite amazing and quite special. Like I said, my mother was not able to be there because of some health challenges, and my brother-in-law's mother showed up to part of the weekend, kind of took her place for me. And that was a wonderful, beautiful connection and so much joy in that moment. So as we are still talking about joy and connection, um, maybe we'll work to have a little bit or a lot of courage. Sometimes it takes a little bit, sometimes it takes a lot to be part of a community again. I know that we're all still, the world has shifted, the world has changed in the last 6 years. 2020 did a number on all of us, and it shifted the way that we interact, and maybe not for the better. But if we can, I would encourage you to be bold and be brave and find the courage to be part of a community again, to let people in. Like I said, not just anybody. Don't just willy-nilly let anybody and everybody into your life, but allow people into your life. Allow people to love you and support you. And sometimes it's going to be for long periods of time. It's going to be family members. It's going to be good friends. Sometimes it's going to be family members and friends that they can only do what they can do. But they'll show up and they'll love you. I thought one of my husband's brothers was going to just be loving and supporting us from a distance, but him and his wife drove 20 hours straight with 4 little kids to be there for us. And that was amazing. So, and letting those people love me has been hard. They're amazing people and they're wonderful, but for some reason it has been hard to let them love me. But as I have done that, I have found some really amazing connection and some fantastic joy. Not the least of which is when my nephew, who's just almost 2, finally let me pick him up for the first time in his life. Granted, I've only seen him like 3 times in his life, but he let me pick him up this weekend and hold him, and it was super fun and cute. But know that you deserve to have people in your life that love you and support you. And sometimes it is that we have to be brave enough to let them in and let them love and support us. But you are brave enough to do that. No matter how difficult it feels, you are brave enough to do that, and you are worth the effort that it takes to do that. So I hope you have a fantastical week, that your spring starts being like spring, and you can find those connections with those people around you, and just allow that joy to fill your life. Don't fight it. Don't put expectations on it. Just let it fill your life and let yourself be happy. You're wonderful. You're amazing. And yes, my dear, you are so very brave. Have a great day.